Hello, Tarot Tribe. It is Dustin from A Modern Metaphysic Man, and today I thought we could take a trip through the Texture Tarot, which I just got day before yesterday. It came all the way from the United Kingdom, and it's done by an artist named MchLoughlin. I hope I'm saying that right. It is an independently published deck. She makes these decks by hand and then sells them on her Etsy shop. If you're interested, I'll put a link to her Etsy shop in the description below so you can check it out. But yeah, so let's take a look at this. It did just come in a standard box package wrapped in tissue paper, and she included this cool little thank you note, which is awesome. That's on watercolor paper. It has some watercolor, and it says "Thank you with love, Lisa," and then it has some cool stitching on it. I love stuff like that. Personal touches are always cool. So yeah, let's dive into this. The box itself is just a standard tuck box. It's pretty well constructed. It has the card back design, has some cards on the back. Complete full color 78 card deck with guidebook included. About it. Pretty plain and simple. It does come with a guidebook, which is really nice. The guidebook is a pretty thick little white guidebook. It has images of the card on the inside, as well as a description of the card. The one thing that I love about the guidebook is in the back, she includes a reference section that has all of the books that she referenced in the creation of the guidebook and the deck itself, which I think is just really cool. There's some really good ones on here. You know, Holistic Tarot by Benaba Wen. If you haven't read that, that is like the Bible tarot now. I think everybody can agree. You know, we have Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which is like a classic. Lots of good stuff in here, and there's a couple I don't have that I definitely added to my tarot book wish list. So yeah, it's a really cool little book full of lots of good, useful information. So the deck itself is it's a pretty thick deck. It is done on really good cardstock. The cards themselves are nice and sturdy, and they're not super bendy, and as you can see, it's a nice matte finish. The card back design is this really cool marbled scale. Please excuse the moogle, that is my phone text, someone sending me a text. But this marbled scaled textured cool collage-y type card back, which I just really like, and it's nice because it is reversible, so as you can see, whichever way you have it turned, it's the same. So that's nice if you do reversals, which I don't. So yeah, let's go through a flip through. So this deck is a collage deck. And the thing I love about this deck is that it reminds me of my time in the UK. You can very much tell that, you know, she's an artist of the United Kingdom. There's a lot of imagery and style and symbolism in the deck that comes from the United Kingdom, which is really good. And the Fool in this actually reminds me a lot of David Bowie's Starman, which I did just get the Starman Tarot, and I plan on doing a video on that pretty soon here too, hopefully in the next day or two. But yeah, he reminds me of David Bowie. He's kind of got that same Starman makeup going on with the lightning bolt across his face. Pretty cool. Magician, which has almost this Mad Hatter quality to him, which I like. And it is a Rider-Waite-Smith inspired deck. Which way my cards are going here. So if you're a fan of RWS style decks, this is a good choice for you. As you can see, all of the decks have this really cool collage work it's really well done collage. You can tell she uses, you know, different papers and textures and things like that to get the image to look the way it does, and then she also uses like fabric with stitching and stuff, which is really sweet. Lots of work went into these. The Empress, who has like almost a Galinda crown. Like, first time I saw this, I was like, oh, it's a little Asian. And she's holding an herb, which is cool. It almost makes her look like she's pregnant. The Emperor. I like the symbology of the throne being a bookcase, because of the wisdom associated with the Emperor card. Hierophant. And this is a pretty inclusive deck. You know, there's a lot of representation of not only different races, but different sexual orientations and things like that, as you see as we go through the deck. So I think it's really cool that, you know, she's very inclusive. Chariot. Strength. Super cool strength card. I like the roses in the Ouroboros infinity symbol. And she also has an infinity symbol as like a clip in her hair. The Hermit, which is a female. Pretty cool. You don't really see a whole lot of female hermits floating around in decks. Okay. Wheel of Fortune, which is more of a pagan wheel, as opposed to the traditional the traditional what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Esoteric rendition with all the Christian symbology in it. Justice. Hanged Man. I love this death card, and it's really interesting to me that of all of the major Arcana cards, she chose to only give the number key for this card. The rest of them all have a name. This one doesn't, which is interesting to me. I've never personally had a negative connotation or association with the death card. I know some people do. I've always seen it as a card of transformation and, you know, the completion of one thing and the beginning of a new thing, right? Not necessarily physical death. Temperance. Super cool Temperance card. The Devil. Let's see, he's like a goat in a mirror on like a mantle or a fireplace with these two little like artist figures chained to either side. Tower. I love the broken glass effect on this tower card. Super cool. Star. Moon. Sun. Got our happy kid. But I love that it's a little girl playing with an airplane. Like, the Judgment card in this deck has been changed to Realization, which is another interesting change in the major Arcana. It doesn't really, for me, change so much the meaning of the reading of the card. Specifically, let's actually look in the guidebook here what she actually wrote in Realization. Personal awakening, enlightenment, epiphany, initiation, rite of passage, spiritual realization, rebirth, rise above earthly limits, phoenix rising from the ashes, game changer, life lesson, paradigm shifts, inner calling, come to terms with past actions, no blame, cry of the spirit, crossroads, towards liberation of all humanity, important change, recognize. So the meaning of the card itself still follows the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith meanings, but the name and the image of the card has changed. And the world is a wreath with the seeds of life behind it, which is cool. And we get into the minor arcana, and all the minor arcana have a sort of color theme, which I think is cool. So got the wands, and I love the collage work on the minor arcana. I love this Five of Wands. And I like that in some of her minor arcana, she leans away from the traditional sort of I guess what am I looking for? The constant representation of the suit in its given form, right? So before we had, wands, we have the 4 wands here at the base of the fireplace. We have the 3 wands in this formation of the triangle, right? And here the wands are being represented by the fingers of the hand, which I think is 6, 7 of wands. I love the ghostly sort of like scream of frustration in the background. 8 of wands, which are arrows. This 9 of wands, I think, is just it's a really powerful image, right? You really kind of feel like, holy shit, this guy has gone through some stuff. Like he's scarred, he is naked, he is standing on or kneeling on this field that has maybe blood on the ground, that we don't know where it's come from, but like he's gone through some shit. 10 of wands. I like the symbology of the stairs, and I'm like it literally being this overwhelming, like, holy shit, I'm carrying all this baggage. I've got to get it up all these floating stairs that give me anxiety because I suck at platforming games. Like, I don't know if you grew up in the age of Mario, but I suck at any game that requires you to jump from one platform to another platform. It just gives me anxiety. Page of Wands, that for whatever reason really reminds me of Sterling. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but every time I see this card, I'm like, hey, Lindsay Sterling, what's up? 9 of Wands. I love that his shoe, he kicked off his shoe. Queen of Wands. Her hair is awesome. King of Wands. This King of Wands is kind of androgynous. Got this really cool costume going on, this lion tattoo chest. It's a pretty cool card. I'm gonna go to the cups. Two of Cups, where the cups are formed by the fate. They're just so cool. 5 of Cups. 4 of Cups. Really powerful 5 of Cups, where you feel like the disappointment, the sort of emotional, like, draining of this person. Very easy to read. 6 of Cups. I love the pop of color with the orange bathing suit. 7 of Cups. House of Cards. 8 of Cups. 9 of Cups. Who doesn't like cats, right? But I love that I love that the cat's cleaning himself while like holding this like tower of teacups, like precariously balanced on his paw, which you know is gonna fall. 10 of Cups, which we have 2 women represented, which is really cool. Normally it's a very stereotypical happy straight family. That's a little bit of a different representation there, which is very cool. Page of Cups. Knight of Cups, which is really interesting because he has no pants on. I don't know why the knight doesn't have pants on, but he doesn't have pants on. Queen of Cups in a wheelchair, which I thought was really cool. Another really awesome, inclusive form of imagery within the deck. King of Cups. Then we get into the swords. 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 Four of Swords. Five of Swords. 6. 7. Like this, the 7 of Cups, because you still are 7 of Cups, 7 of Swords. Because you still have this sort of like sneaking away with the swords. This wolf is kind of like grabbed these swords that we're laying about, and he's running off with them. 8 of Swords. This 8 of Swords is really powerful to me because her legs are the only thing that is bound, right? Her arms are very much free. She could easily just reach down and undo this barbed wire that she's got wrapped around her legs and that's cutting her and making her bleed. But she also has this blindfold on, so you get this sense that, you know, there's an issue that she doesn't want to face. She doesn't even want to look at it. It's something that she herself has the power to get out of, but she hasn't done it yet, right? And that she needs to do it. 9 of Swords. Super creepy. 10 of Swords. Page of Swords. This card is weird to me just because of the way her feet are. I don't know if you can see it very well, but her feet are backwards and it creeps me out. The human body doesn't do that. And I understand that it's supposed to be like her looking over her shoulder. But at the same time, the way the perspective is on her body, it's like this arm is facing us, right? This side of her is still facing us, because you don't really see the back of her elbow, right? Looks like the inside of her elbow. And then this side, right, she's facing away. You can kind of see her bust coming out here. She's obviously looking over her shoulder, and then her feet are facing, into the card. It's just it's uncomfortable. Knight of Swords, female knights represented, which is really cool. Queen of Swords. King of Swords. And again, Pentacles, or have kind of a green tone to them. Pentacles. Pentacles. 4. Six. I like the use of the scales in this 6 of Pentacles. I think that's a good piece of symbolism for intuitive reading. 7. Creating things. Much more of an artist, right? You have the artist's palette up here around his head with all of the brushes coming out of it, and then all of these pentacles that he painted. 8 pentacles. 9 Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles. Super cool Page of Pentacles. I like the acorns. And the Knight of Pentacles, which instead of riding a horse, he's plowing. I thought that was a really cool interpretation of the card. Queen of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles. So yeah, it's a really awesome deck. The artwork and the collage work is masterfully done. Like, collage is one of those things where it's either a home run or a complete and total miss, and I think she really hit a home run. Like, it all works really well together. They all work really well independently. The cards still have the symbolism and the meaning behind them that you need to do a reading. The deck reads really, really well. The palette is beautiful. It's a really awesome deck. It's really well constructed, and it's probably, at this point, my favorite independent deck that I own. So yeah, I would definitely check it out. Again, it's by Lisa MchLoughlin, and I will be sure to put a link to her in her Etsy shop below. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If like I said, if there's any decks or anything you specifically want to see a review on, please put them in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this deck. If you like it, if you own it, if you want it. I'll put a link to my Instagram in the description below as well, so check me out there. And I am working on a blog and a website that is to come pretty soon, and I will be offering distance tarot readings through my website for the few people that have inquired about those. So that is coming soon. I'm hoping to have that done in the next week or so. So keep an eye out here, and on my Instagram I will make sure that I post information in all the places when I do put that live. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. And as always, remember, everybody is fighting a battle that you know nothing about. So be kind, always. Have a good day.